One day I was riding a train in 2010 in Zurich and I was looking out the window. There was a billboard outside that had 7 words I will never forget. It said, "Es ist nur eine Frage der Zeit." Luckily, the train was stopped so I could parse what it meant, and I had been learning German some months by then. And I just kept staring at the sign. Have you ever seen a stereogram? It reminded me of that. A stereogram is a 2D image with a 3D image within it. And the trick is to stare at it a certain way until your brain processes the image. Once the image comes into focus and you have this really strange sense of accomplishment that you could see something, you're like, oh, I could see what's there. I could finally see it. And that's exactly how I felt staring at those 7 words, and the words made sense in my brain all of a sudden. And I screamed in my head, of course, because I was by myself on a train, but I screamed, "It's only a question of time." And I will never forget the joy of understanding that sentence. It felt like progress. However, that was 16 years ago, and to this day, I realized that learning a new language does not have an end date. It is an ongoing process. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you some of my miscommunication mishaps while learning German and my partial confusion about certain German words. Okay, so here we go. My daughter loves Kinderlieder. That means kids' songs. And can I admit something? So do I. It is an extremely effective way to learn German. Actually, looking at kids' songs in any language is an excellent way to learn the language. There is this song about zoo animals taking a vacation away from the zoo, and they each take turns sitting at the wheel of the tour bus. Now, we normally listen to Kinderlieder while we're driving in the car, so I try to really listen to the words, and I can't see a picture, so I don't have context. So a little side story, when we first moved to Heidelberg, we had to find a tax person to help with our taxes, and this person is called a Steuerberater. You see a lot of signs around town advertising Steuerberatung, which means tax consulting. So in my mind, Steuer means taxes, nothing else. So back to the Kinderlieder. We were listening to this Kinderlied in the car about these zoo animals taking away a vacation away from the zoo, riding a bus, and my ears were following along, and it's a super cute song, all these animals taking turns driving. But there was something unusual I kept hearing that didn't make sense. It sounded like he was saying, "Who is sitting on the taxes? Wer sitzt da am Steuer?" So we consulted our German friends, and they confirmed with a chuckle that Steuer means taxes. Steuern means to steer, but am Steuer means at the wheel. There are 3 words that have always confused me, but I think I have finally parsed them. Taub, Taube, Trauben. Eine Taube frisst Trauben. So I was talking to a nursing colleague the other day, and she picked up 2 different colored washcloths. And she said one is for the patient's back and one is for the Intimbereich. Now, from what I know about Bereich, that means area or region. But this intim, I heard in team, because German has actually adopted a lot of business English terms or English words sowieso. So it wasn't so far out of reach for me to think when she said intim, I thought she said intim, area or region. And so I kind of was like, oh, okay. And I went along with her. But then it was very clear by context later on that she meant intimate area, because intimate is intime, you see? So when these miscommunications happen, you have 2 choices. You could accept them in your mind and then, pretend like you knew what she was talking about all along. Or if you were like me, I had to let my face was like smiling, like I wanted to laugh. And she was like, "What's so funny?" And I just told her my misunderstanding. While it was embarrassing, she had a little laugh too. So it kind of like makes you seem more human, in my opinion. And also, I think people appreciate you being honest. I was talking to my daughter's friend's mom who owns a restaurant in town. It was her daughter's birthday and the dad wasn't there, so I asked where the dad was. And she said he was helping his cousin with something. That's what she said, but the word for cousin in German is cousine, and my ears heard cuisine because they own a restaurant. For the whole time she was talking to me about his situation that he was at his cousin's, I imagined him working in their restaurant, and some of the things didn't really make sense. And it wasn't until weeks later that I heard someone refer to the kids of their aunt as their cousine. And it made me flash back to that conversation with that mom. And it suddenly, in retrospect, made perfect sense. Unfortunately, it was too late to give that mom a proper, suitable response. But I think when she was talking to me, the mom talking about the cousine, I was giving the usual, yeah, like that type of response, even though I didn't understand 100% of what she was talking about. But now I know the word for cousin, cousine. The word for cuisine in German is actually the same word as I'm understanding as kitchen, which is Küche. Schlüsselübergabsterminvorschläge. If you are ever in a situation where you just bought or rented a car or a house and you need an appointment to pick up the keys, and somebody gives you a suggestion for a pickup appointment, then that word will come in handy. Okay, final one. Well, not really. I'm sure there's many more and many more to come, but this vorstellen one means to imagine something and one means to introduce, but one of them takes the accusative and one of them takes the dative. So if I say ich stelle mir vor, that means that I imagine that something. If I say ich stelle mich vor, that means I introduce myself. So one is mir, one is mich. But they're both vorstellen for the infinitive verb. It took me years to finally pin that one down. So that's it for now. What are some of your miscommunications or challenges you faced when learning a new language? Drop them in the comments. I would love to hear your stories.